Kiss My SaaS is the podcast for the modern MSP. Together with industry experts, peers, and all-star guests, we're here to tackle the realities of building a future-proof MSP cloud business with no filter. Each episode is packed with real-life stories, insights, and advice to ensure you can do more. So what are you waiting for? Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Kiss My SaaS Cloud Summit Edition. Welcome everyone. Let me press play here so we're on time. All right, so we have an amazing show today. We are recording. Hopefully that's good for everybody, and if we'll get you on the video and we'll share it for everyone. But welcome to Cloud Summit. Welcome to Kiss My SaaS Cloud Summit Edition. Today we're talking cyber, we're talking trends, what we're seeing in the market, what we're doing to help you in the market, and then we're going to validate everything with one of our partners on stage, a little fireside chat. So I'll kick things off. We have some great speakers today. We'll talk about some of the programs that we're seeing, some of the reports that we have from the market, share some insights as to where we think things are going, where to focus, and at the end of the day, wrap it all together to help tell that story about what's the impact that we see for you partners today. Alrighty? So you heard earlier Paul Bay mention a report, Vance and Bourne. It was an MSP study that we conducted, actually, our team. We conducted it last year. And to set this record of kind of what we did and how we did it, we actually approached over 700 MSPs globally across 16 different countries and 4 continents. Out of those 700 plus, 600 actually qualified for our report. And to give you a framework of who they were, what they looked and felt like, so it wasn't fully loaded, oh, I gotta click through. There was about 25 questions, okay? The size of the MSP, to put some relevance, was somewhere between, some were 8, 9 people at a company, some were hundreds, if not thousands. So we had all shapes and forms. When it comes to who they served, we had MSPs that served small SMB, and having maybe 25 clients, 30 clients, and all the way up to enterprise, serving 50 plus 100 clients that were in full 1,000 people employee counts. Okay, so all shapes and sizes. Oops. And finally, at the end of the day, those who responded were the leaders, the owners, the board members, and the executives, 90%. So we had to make sure we had the right clientele. And if you want, there's a QR code, and we'll share later. If you can go download the report and read further, it's a great report. We're really proud of it because when you're talking MSP, you're talking CSP, whatever term you want to use, it's different than just reselling an offer. And when we say reseller, it kind of diminishes the value that we deliver. So I hate hearing that term because you're not just reselling and walking away. We really want to make sure we had a different feel in cloud and make sure we're talking the right language. We're speaking to you in the terms, because who cares about selling a SKU? Because you don't make any money on it. You care about what you can sell with it. What are the services? What does that bring to you in the form of subscription and annuity? I'll come back to the code if you need it. So out of this, I want to share 5 key things in the report that I think help set the stage for what we're talking about today. So the first thing is we always want to know, hey, what are the top 3 opportunities that you have? So remember, this is 600 plus MSPs, all shapes and sizes. This is not enterprise-centric, not SMB, it's everything in between. And what they came back with, no surprise, managed security, number 1. Number 2, MDR, which we're seeing a really growth in right now. And frankly, MDR is a lot of ISVs who are now packaging up, or MSSPs who are packaged up an ISV offer and displacing a lot of MSSPs. So it's a huge opportunity for the CSP, MSP space as they want to get that next level of security. And cloud services, because we transfer and migrate workloads to the cloud, they become a lot less secure. So that being said, okay, that's great. That's what the opportunities are. Well, what have you launched? What's new in your business today? And again, I'm kind of surprised I keep seeing identity. How many in the room offer identity services? I should see every single hand up. Blows my mind. This is something everyone has to do immediately, especially for hybrid work, remote work. It's critical if you're not doing it today. Let's talk afterwards, make sure you're doing it tomorrow. Second thing is end user security training. Again, this is something we've seen the past couple years. Most of the hacks are coming through human error. So just doing that level of service to train the individual, and there's ISV offers as well, about what to do, what not to do, how to report something as phishing, et cetera. And then modern endpoint, or EDR. We're seeing a continued resurgence in that as well. So the flip side, well, what's going to be gone in 5 to 10 years? What's the forward thinking? This isn't us, this isn't Gartner, this is partners in their world. And here's what they're telling us. Internal IT, no surprises. Everyone understands that. I think that's a given. End user security training, oops, wrong one. The cloud services, which is kind of surprising because it's currently one of the main offers they're offering today. But what that tells you is partners are looking at this and saying from a cloud service delivery, it's going to become more commoditized. So how do I get away from this and offer more value and invest in more complex offers? And finally, backup. Backup's been on forever. I think everyone's almost at the point now where we've backed everything up. BDR even is kind of the point where it's, a lot of people don't consider that security. It becomes now data and compliance. So we're evolving and growing from just pure backup, disaster and recovery, to now what do we do with the data? Big analytics, small analytics, and data intelligence, and then compliance. So then we moved on. Another fourth thing that jumped out is, this was the interesting one. We asked the partner, candidly, how well do you think you're doing to cope with these changes? And what kind of changes do you think you need to make? And dramatically, 62% saying a lot of change is required for them to continue to adapt and evolve. And I was kind of surprised by this because a lot of change was the highest metric, and we didn't expect this much of a response, but the overwhelming majority, 3/4 roughly, said we need to change a lot because we're not being able to keep up. We're kind of treading water in a lot of cases, and we need help. So that being said, what have you done then to adapt and change and evolve with this? And my favorite answer was stronger relationships with my clients. I loved that was number one response, and we'll come back to that in a second. Second thing was we've launched new services. And if you go back to the opportunities and what they've launched, it makes complete sense. Enhance our cyber offering, protect your own house. You know, if you look at the past couple of years, it's been pretty chaotic. And then approaching your clients, maybe upstream, downstream, with new offers, new services, new pricing. A lot of partners have kind of played with pricing the past couple of years, not sure where to put it. And then finally implemented a PSA RMM solution. How many in the room are using some sort of PSA or RMM? Okay, so 3/4, I would say. A lot of partners, big or small, VAR, SI, whatever term you want to use, are using it today, but it's typically more inbred in the deep MSP space. We're seeing a lot of partners who are realizing I can't scale. I'm having some cost issues to manage my business, so they're really leaning on these solutions, big or small. So for those who know Eric Cole in the US, who leads our cyber practice, or your others, him and I love this question. We talk about it all the time, so I had to ask, what keeps you up at night? Because if I know that, I know what value I can deliver to you. And that's what we're always looking at. What keeps you up? What you wake up in the middle of the night and say, oh my God, I have to worry about this because if I don't do this, I'm out of business or I'm gonna lose my customer. And I want to tell a bit of a story here. So today, number one is profitability. Not too surprising, okay? Number two, acquiring new clients. So I can't grow fast enough. I'm either losing clients or I'm not growing at the rate I want to. And number three, compliance and data privacy, back to cyber. The understanding of how complex this becomes, what do I do, how do I act? I need help. But I want to tell you a bit of a story, because I look at this and say, this is one data element, but how has it evolved? And let's go in this together. So in 2019, when we asked this question, here's what the answers were. Number one, marketing and sales, work-life balance, and growth. Those top three were the same top three on and off in the top five for probably the 5-10 years before that. Makes sense, standard, right? 2020 COVID hits. Number one, cyber. Number two, work-life balance and hiring people. So I don't know what I'm doing. Everyone has a new environment. The threat posture has massively changed. I can't maintain my workforce because they're either sick, they can't go to the office, or they said, hey, I want a new role, I want a new job. And we're all working crazy hours. That makes complete sense. But what happened in 2021? So a year after COVID hit, what was the response? Competition, growth, and profitability. The first time competition has ever come up in the top three pain points in probably 10 years. So think about that. Think about the past 4 years. It was, I'm worried about the usual, and I'm worried about the chaos of COVID and cyber, and now I'm worried about losing business, losing profitability, which basically says I'm losing the competition, or someone's taking my customers away, or I'm not growing. Many MSPs are sub 5 to negative growth in that year. I'm not growing as fast enough for where I need to be, and my profitability is declining, which means I'm selling less valuable services, or I'm getting outpriced. Now I'll take another step back. This is the partner side. What about the end user? ConnectWise did a study for the SMB cyberspace, and it's pretty dramatic to show that side of the scale too. The answers told us that all clients worry about being attacked. No longer is it's not gonna happen to me. Yep, it's gonna happen to me, it's a matter of when. 50% of the clients responded saying they had been attacked, and it was anywhere from $25,000 to $100,000. SMB numbers, right? It goes way up when you talk enterprise. On top of that, 91% of the end user space in SMBs said they're not confident or comfortable that their MSP can protect them in the cyber needs today, which says two things. Either the MSP can't, or they're not articulating the value clear enough. And in fact, those end users are looking to leave for the right cyber offer, and they'll pay 30% more, directly from the customer. This isn't a vendor. We're not talking about infinite opportunity. This is what customers are telling them. What also was really concerning was the end user said that I'm not having regular cyber discussions with my MSP. And if we look at the data, it was quarterly, every 6 months, after an attack, or once a year, having a meaningful cyber discussion. So what does that say? Well, no wonder why the end user says, I don't think they can protect me, because we're not talking about it. You're not articulating the value of what I'm paying for, and I don't know what you're doing. You could be doing all the right things, but the packaging maybe is wrong. So of course they're thinking about, well, what's going to happen? If I get attacked, and frankly, this is what they said, if I get attacked and I get hit with a $100,000 cost, I have to go and recover from this, I'm going to fire you, and I'm going to try to sue you. Oh, and by the way, if I paid for cyber insurance, and then on top of that I hear that I didn't follow every single T and C, because a lot of MSPs will sell cyber insurance but not follow the T's and C's, and the insurance will pull the money back. Think of the compounding effect that's going to have. So that's the reseller perspective and the end user perspective. Now let's look at the Ingram data. So I went through 6 months ago, looked at 2021 data, 28,000 partners within Ingram US, and quickly looked at the data, and what did it tell me? It told me that the partners that have more portion of cloud business are actually growing at a lower rate than partners who have a less portion of their cloud business. So let me say that a different way. If I sell less cloud, I grow faster, which is the opposite of what we would normally talk about. There's more seats up here, everybody. So why is that? And I'm scratching my head thinking, this is a really bad sales prop for me to go and say this. So let me break it down. The partners who sold at a share of wallet between 0 to 10% were growing 8%, 9% year over year at a macro level. The partners that had cloud business that was 40% or more of their business were growing at 5 or sub 5. Again, this makes no sense. It was a linear correlation. The more I sold in cloud, the less I grew top line. You start digging through a little deeper though, what you saw, the tipping point, was as the cloud was growing, as it became more important, the hardware, the software, and perpetual went down dramatically. So it was the mix of business, and that's why top line didn't look very good. But if you dug further, the profitability on that business, the profitability on that services was 2, 3, 4x. So the net income was much higher. But there's a cash flow issue to balance that. Take it one more step further. If you look at the vendors in 2021 or in 2020, Endpoint specifically, the top 5 in that space, they're all names we know and we love. 4 of them were the legacy incumbents. They all lost share. Their growth was anywhere between 5 to 8% in 2020. 2020 was booming from cyber perspective, Endpoint especially. You grew at 5 to 8%, no wonder why you lost share. And these are the big guys. One of them was the first time in the top 5, and it grew triple digits. So triple digit growth, and now you're the top 5. 2021, those vendors recovered a bit of that growth, but were well below the ones who are winning and gaining. If I give you a different perspective, the ones that weren't growing were the legacy incumbents who were more traditional, more perpetual, versus the ones that were winning, high double, triple growth, were cloud-based and native. So what does this really mean? What I heard from the vendors, from the market, from our own data, from our partners and end users is a couple key things. Number one, we're not having the right conversations with you as a partner, and you're not having the right conversations with your customers at a macro level. You guys are all probably doing a great job, but your competition probably isn't. Second to that, we're maybe not positioning the offers correctly, pricing it correctly, talking about here's what I'm doing to continue to earn your business, here's how I'm protecting you to do more, because our customers don't care about IT. I want to sell more Kiss My SaaS hats. I want to sell t-shirts. I want to sell whatever. They just want the IT to work, and it's gone away from my computer's working fine. Why are you here? Well, how do I help you do more? How do I enable you to be safe, expand your business at an accelerated rate? And on top of that, partners 9 times out of 10 will say, how do I build a practice? Where do I start? What do I do? Right? Maybe I have a switch in the closet that I do email filter through, and I charge my client $5 a month. Right? So tell me how to build a practice. Help me build a practice, not a webinar, not a one-pager battle card. Help me build a practice, and I'll actually pay you for that. So here's what we did with that. 3 things that we've developed over the past couple of years to immediately address those issues. Number 1, we look at the Sonar sales framework. It was actually an internal project we started a year ago to really help our sellers, our reps, be more productive and efficient, because we're going through the same struggles you are. Of how do I articulate the value, get across to you what you should be selling, how you should be selling it, what's the process, what are the services included. We developed a 6-step process to really walk you through as a partner and your clients through pre-sales assessment, a vulnerability health scan that's agnostic, it's not vendor driven, to go in there and assess the opportunity and scan everything. Whether it's a short scan, long scan, doesn't really matter. Then we're going to walk through and say, here's the vulnerabilities, here's your score, and here's the remediation we want to do with you. And we're going to give you a score on every single limit. And oh, by the way, here's the implementation we're going to do. And it's not right away. It's phased. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and it goes on forever, right? The commitment to the structure was really getting a partner to say, hey, like, is this something you would be interested in? Something you think you could take to your customer? The whole point of this is to train the trainer. How do we give you this process, this structure, these pre-sales tools? And oh, by the way, it also includes post-sales implementation. So if you don't have that skill set, use us. It's a SKU on the marketplace. Click and you're done. We built this framework for you to kind of take and run with. Oh, someone's phoning us. Oh, time. The second thing we went through is the Microsoft security experts. You want to go deep in Microsoft. You want to get very narrow in your scope, and by that I mean vendor narrow, and go all in. We built a program that's very dedicated to the top 150, top 300 partners who want to go through this, and Bree's going to tell you more about that. And finally, practice builder. If you're kind of figuring things out, you have new reps. How do I train and educate them in cyber? We have a whole training program in place today with marketing, with the demand gen included in that, free of charge for everybody and anybody. This is a great way for you, and we'll show a demo of this today, to really play with it. We have 4 modules with 4 learning modules with 10 elements within each, so 40 different videos, 40 different training regimes to go through from anything and everything you could possibly imagine. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to call Deline here to give us a demo on what that looks like.
Thank you, Greg.
Do you need this?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Building a cybersecurity practice is hard, but being here, last track of this 2-day giant event, is even harder. So thanks for sticking with us, first of all. My name is Lillian, as Craig said. I want to quickly introduce you, make this short and sweet for you. New practice builder program. Our focus is cybersecurity here, and as Craig has mentioned, what we've envisioned with this is a digital platform where you can learn, engage, and interact with your peers as well as experts from the field to help you build, evolve, and grow your cybersecurity practice. We have content around enabling you, around training content with videos that, again, Craig has mentioned, around 40 of them that are vendor agnostic. So it's not like product-related content you get, but you get category-related content. We have turnkey demand generation campaigns where you can actually download, if you wanted to, all those valuable assets, customize, and roll it out through your marketing automation tools, or we also offer you a marketing automation opportunity through the platform as well, should you want to use it. So how does this comes together? It's basically a journey. What we have today is when you actually, through the cloud marketplace, using your cloud marketplace credentials, you can access the platform, take an assessment, sign up for the program, and now you can actually access videos around these key trends that are out there today. You can access trainings, again, around vendor agnostic as well as vendor-related content. You can get certifications. We've actually consolidated some certifications from our vendors as well as the industry today, right? Cybersecurity content that's valuable out there for you. And then campaigns. We have campaigns around, again, specific categories. For example, endpoint security. We have identity access management campaigns that you can use those assets to take it out to your customers to drive demand. We also have campaigns around new products, the Microsoft Defender product that was just recently launched, as well as Bitdefender, for example, the security solutions that they have out there. Dedicated content around products and categories are available for you to leverage today. Now, you can tell me, it's like, okay, this is good, a lot of good content you brought together, but where it gets exciting is we want to actually service this content to you in a very tailored fashion. And let me show you how that actually works with this quick demo. If I can just toggle, does that show? All right, perfect. So this is the program homepage that we see today. At the top, there's a quick tour and a video. Is it blurred a little bit? Can you see it? Or is it me? From my eyes, but let's just go with it. Okay. So you can take a quick tour as well as the video is out there to learn about what is where on the platform. In the middle, you see our progress dashboard. Currently, all the content that is actually open to wherever you are in your practice. You can literally set up your account and go through everything that we offer. And at the bottom of the page, we have some of the featured highlights that we want to bring forward to you, right? Now, this is what we have out today. What is coming in July is, if I can actually move forward here. All right, so this is our new look and feel of the homepage. Where you see in the middle is that progress dashboard for depth is basically when you take that initial assessment, we profile where your business is, right? And you actually get serviced all the content that's available on the portal specifically tailored for for where you are on the journey. So starting off, once after you set up your account profile, you're going to, for example, get access to videos around specific cybersecurity categories. If you're a depth partner, you'll get different videos if you're a breadth partner. And some of the content, if I may show, when you toggle over this tile on this milestone, you're going to see very easily what are some of those tasks that we would ask you to complete if you're on the portal. And moving forward, when you click on this milestones 3, for example, it should take you down, anchor down to this milestone 3 page. And once again, all the tasks that are associated with that specific milestone is listed on the right. And when you click on, say, one of these tasks, it actually opens up the videos that we were mentioning, and you can play the video and then mark it as complete, and you're going to see that task as being completed here. And in return, as you complete the task associated with each milestone, the next milestone will unlock for you. And similarly, if you go to, for example, here, very easily, if you click on one of these, for example, there's content that you can access. For example, Zero Trust, a hot topic these days. You can actually click on that and go to directly the page with the content, with some of the videos we have around that, as well as the recent examples or some training resources associated with that specific topic again. So that's a very short overview of the July version of our Cybersecurity Practice Builder program. And we actually look forward to seeing you join by going to, let me just go back here, to our, yes, July 22. If you go to your CMP Marketplace account today with your credentials, you are going to actually see the Go-to-Market app, and through there, you can easily access the program and sign up for it. We have actually a QR code here as well, which we're going to share afterwards. If you'd like to provide any feedback around the program, which we actually definitely look forward to, because we want to make this program as tailored and targeted as much as possible to make it helpful for you. Thank you. Yes.
Are we hot? Are we live?
Yes.
There we go. It's fantastic. So I think one of the comments you heard earlier, actually 2 of them, we heard about experience on the main stage, and we heard about spirit. Digital transformation is people, process, and tools or platforms, right? Let's not forget this is a tool. This will continue to evolve, but the whole point is, the emphasis is to give you something to enable you to do more, and it's a spirit, it's a journey. So the whole point is to how do I help you in your journey along that to educate and evolve yourself. And if you have 25, 200 people in your company, they can each go through independently, okay? Questions? Sure, why not? Let's do it. Correct. So the reason why we've delayed it, because we're making a lot of enhancements. So in July, it'll be live in North America, the new version, then we're rolling out global. So we're focusing on English-speaking countries first, just because it's quicker and easier, and we'll start translations elsewhere. So this is a global tool. I want to say 2 things too. It's not built for vendors, it's built for you. Make that really clear. It's not built as a marketing engine, meaning our marketing engine, it's built for you, for your marketing, your learning, your education, okay? There'll be a lot of cool gamification, there'll be cool points, social, you name it. This will continue to evolve over time. On that note, another amazing program has amazing results. I want to call it Bree. She has the handhold mic, so we have to expect her to rap a little bit through the session to talk about next.
Just number 3, perfect. So who here is a Microsoft partner in the room? Awesome. Yes. Awesome. So I think I'd love to talk about the MS Expert program or Microsoft Security program, because it can really help support, existing Microsoft partners scale up their business and focus on building a security-led service through a 6-step framework that we're actually utilizing, building off the Sonar sales framework. And basically, I'm very happy to tell the audience here, this is the 3rd year we've executed the MS Expert program. And basically, it's a 3-month program where we invite 150 to 300 partners around the world to dedicate their associates to learn, train, feed off our Microsoft experts like PureIT, talk to vendors like Microsoft, complementary solutions like QS Solutions, be aided with marketing development funds to support their execution of their go-to-market strategy, so on and so forth. And so we've actually been rewarded by CRN as a 5-star partner program this year. So I'm very happy to talk about how we've been able to build the program to support partners that might be challenged in terms of not having the right time, the right investments to invest in their staffs to get them certified, or they don't have the correct pathway to really building up a service around security, or simply because it's a risk for them to onboard a new service around security that they might not feel like they're totally able to handle the full deployment to secure the customer and cover themselves from a liability and risk standpoint. So using the Sonar sales framework, we've basically built up the program in 6 different steps to help guide partners through. The first thing is preparation. So basically we set partners up to engage in the MS500 certification, which is the security admin certification that Microsoft has. And we basically put them through a 5-day training to get them certified and have their certification approved through by Microsoft, as well as have them invest their time in 1-hour sessions called Ask the Expert sessions, where we bring on vendors like Microsoft or QS Solutions or other partners that have built that successful practice and are willing to mind share and tell other partners exactly how they did it, how they set up their services, what price they're paying for, et cetera, et cetera. The second stage is engage, right? So in this phase, we're really arming partners with the right go-to-market material. Like Laleen said, we have Microsoft Defender for Business product assets that you can easily deploy by white labeling your logo on there to send to your customers through our go-to-market hub, as well as through the P2BP program, as well as giving you access to Cloud Ascent. Cloud Ascent is a great Microsoft propensity list that all partners actually have access to. And it pretty much gives you a high propensity list and targeting of your existing customers that Microsoft has invested machine learning to understand what is the intent and fit for you to upsell or cross-sell across Microsoft Modern Work, Azure, Dynamics, or even security, right? The next thing that we've done is commitment, right? So again, we talked about marketing dollars that we aid partners with, up to $2,000 per partners to commit to a go-to-market marketing event or sales motion to really drive traffic to their service. And deliver. So in order to support partners in delivery, we armed them with 3 complimentary vouchers supplied by a vendor that we trust around cybersecurity assessments called QS Solutions. And basically, in part of aiding them with vouchers to use to their customers as an incentive to try, we're actually teaching them how to deliver the assessment, the delivery, the reporting, et cetera, and also filling in any gaps of where they might need more support through our Ingram Micro Center of Excellence team to support with that. The 5th step is implement. So with implement, each partner in the program, the 3-month program, is supplied with a local business development manager. We have one in the room for the US, Joey over here. And basically he's there to support you on any of the customer opportunities that you have. If you have questions that the customer has around security functionality, he's that subject matter expert to really guide you through those conversations and let you shadow and learn through him, right? And the last thing is reporting and repeating, right? So with the QS Solutions tool, we would be helping you guide you through deploying the assessment and then being able to report back on the findings, as well as what has changed over the service delivery of you working with that customer over time. So what we found is, and this is just a snapshot of our current FY22 partner program and those who've completed it after the 5 months. And so what we've seen is in 5 months, participants have actually grown their monthly recurring revenue by 72% versus the average baseline of our modern work partner at 54%. This is a big amount of growth in a short amount of time, and it's simply just because partners are focusing on upselling to product lines like Microsoft 365 Business Premium or E5 to really start selling the security functionalities. We're also able to see that there's a 51% growth in MRR per end customer, which accounts for $115 more USD per customer with upselling security and helping customers understand what is available within their productivity suite. In general, participants that have focused on building a security practice with technical skilling generated more MRR than the average modern work partner that we have in Ingram's ecosystem and have generally lowered their churn per customer. So we can see that with time and investment, and in this case, this program really takes only 3 months of your time, you can start seeing accelerated growth by just simply focusing on building a repeatable motion around having a security offering around your Microsoft 365 line. So with that, I'll pass it back.
Here we go. There we go. So thank you very much, Bree. So I wanted to say a couple things. First of all, this is us just showing investments we're making in you. This isn't a commercial. This isn't Ingram is the best, right? We're going to validate that in a second and see if we're blowing smoke or not. But what we're doing is trying to grow your business, invest in your business. We're not doing this from the vendor angle. We're doing this from the Ingram angle and the MSP. So on that note, I'm going to call up one of our partners who flew in at an incredible time this morning.
It was late.
To join us. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about his experience, what he's seeing in the market. And I don't think you need this.
I think we're good. Yep.
Okay. All right. So we have about 19 minutes left, and we're probably between them and a drink. So we'll make sure we'll be on time. So we've talked a lot about a number of things. Before we do that, though, tell us about yourself, Robbie, and your company and your role.
Yeah. So my name's Robbie. I hail from Oregon. So we say go Ducks in Oregon, just for any college football fans. But I am the Senior Solutions Architect for PureIT. We focus heavily into credit unions and a little bit of banks. And so most all of our customers are in a regulated industry of some kind, which is what obviously brought us to the Security Expert program. We've managed to build a pretty good niche around that financial services vertical. They have a pretty good overlap with a lot of the security tools that we're here talking about today.
Perfect. All right. Well, I said a lot of stuff on stage. We talked about the struggles, MSP, COVID, the things you've had to adapt and change to. What resonates for you of what we said today? Is it aligned to what you're seeing in the market?
Yeah, very much so. Much like everybody in this room probably experienced, COVID changed a few things for your customers, both good and bad. We had some customers that adapted really easily to it and they were well prepared. And we had other customers that were the opposite of that and were scrambling to try to figure out some certain solutions. And so that kind of led us down to a couple roads where we had clients with very fractured IT infrastructure. They'd have laptops in the field that they couldn't control or verify any security controls on. We had some that were using personal devices that had company data on it. And in a typical SMB, that might not be the end of the world. But in a regulated industry like financial services, device compliance is a really important thing. Device encryption is a really important thing. And really, there's a box checker somewhere back there that wants to know these things actually happened. Mm-hmm. And so we've seen a lot of kind of migration for our customers into some of these 365 tools that helps us check those boxes for them.
Yeah, and we purposely made the session not about, hey, here's what you need to do to build a cyber practice, because you've probably looked at it before. Well, I think what people miss is the pieces in between and the mistakes that we make. And that's really our role. Our role isn't to give you vendor by vendor by vendor by vendor, you fall asleep. Right. So that being said, when you look back, what lessons did you learn the past couple of years when it came to trying to pull everything together, and especially moving forward?
For us, we eat a lot of our own dog food, and so we kind of cut our teeth internally on a lot of the tools that we use. But really, and again, speaking just in kind of our financial services vertical, we know our customers pretty well, and it helps us understand exactly what they're going through. And so we're not a traditional VAR that would just sell somebody a network switch and move on. We have pretty deep relationships with our customers. We have virtual CISOs on staff and virtual CIOs on staff. And so outside of the M365 side, we do a lot of strategic consulting that lets us understand those clients pretty deeply. And so when they have an issue, we're not the MSP that the clients hope are doing something. We're the MSP that they know is doing something right. And so with that deep relationship, we know that proof point is or is not the right solution for them, or whatever the vendor might be. We can kind of help coach them down some of those situations.
Okay. And as you went through your journey the past couple of years, if you had to pick maybe one thing that, looking back, hey, we learned and we went through some pain, what would you pick? There might be more than one, but just
there's probably a few of those. From like our own company, even though we eat our own dog food, sometimes that isn't always super easy. I mean, even little things like how we answer the phone and who's answering the phones and who's in queue. We're a 40-person MSP, and so we're not tiny, but we're not huge. And so we had some little things like that, even for us to figure out as we went to remote workforce. But for our customers, it was really just this huge smattering of issues that they all had. Some people had endpoint protection really figured out, and they either did it on their own or with us. And other people didn't have a clue. And that was one of the challenges for us as our engineers, seeing customers of all kinds of different shapes and sizes. When you're working with 1,000 employee credit union, that experience for our engineers, what's demanded of our staff is a whole lot different from a 30-person credit union that, might just be implementing one of these tools for the first time. And so kind of the depth of bench that we needed to support COVID, it was pretty deep. We needed a wide variety of technical staff to kind of help field those issues.
And probably you need different language for different customers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly, yes. Yeah, our smallest credit union is a 3-employee credit union. And they're like, if anybody knows anything about credit unions, most people got a car loan from them at a elementary school thing when they had a cash box somewhere back there. And credit unions have come a long way. They're pretty progressive in technology. But we've been seeing that, much like everybody here, a big shift from on-prem, I need to go buy some more space in my SAN, to let's move things into Azure or into AWS. Let's figure out how to encrypt it. Let's figure out how to do that securely, and kind of help our customers take that journey.
And I think your message resonates in the sense of, we're saying credit union, but replace credit union with whatever you want.
Industry.
And I think what's important, what I'm hearing, and I want to make sure I call out, is that you're very focused, very specific as to who is your client, who is your customer, and then what am I giving that customer? Because I think the broad-based breadth MSP that we talk about, the reason why we say the modern MSP is the one that has made that shift. The one that went in 2020, 2021, realized I need to make a change in my business and invest differently and go deep and very, very focused versus I do everything.
Yep.
Because end users don't want I can do everything anymore, right? They're moving on. So what changed for you? What shifted, whether it was your portfolio, was your offers, your approach? What shifted in the past maybe year for you and how you approach your customer differently?
In the last year or so, post-COVID and being in rooms like this, we do really well in face-to-face, going and visiting our clients, bringing them to a conference, meeting them at a conference. We have half of our executive team is in California right now and half of them are in Massachusetts, and I'm here. And so being able to travel for us has been a really big deal. Since we have a pretty specific vertical, if a construction company came to us, even with 50 employees, and said, we needed cybersecurity help, we'd say, let me go try to help refer you to somebody else.
Yeah.
But the value that brings is we know the pieces of software that our clients run intimately. We go to those software vendor conferences. And so when they come to us, we can speak the language of our customer. And maybe it's construction or maybe it's dental or any of the other verticals you guys might be in. But that niche is what's really helped us because we can communicate in the language that our customers know really well.
And I want to repeat something you said. It's the ability and the fortitude to say no. And too often we say yes, and then we sprawl. And then we lose our value. And our message and our value prop gets sprayed everywhere, right? So if you think about your cyber journey over the past year or 2 or 6 months, over time, what tools, resources, shameless plug portion, did you use to really grow your business?
Well, we were in the first or second cohort for the security expert. First? Okay. So yeah,
it might have been Rocky the first one, so be easy on us.
Yeah, first time you do something's always interesting, but it was great for us. This is kind of the shameless plug for Ingram and the security expert program, but it helped us kind of focus on where that future, and specifically with 365 for this one, where that future is going to be. And then of course COVID happened. I think we were all together in January 2020, and then everything got shut down at the end of February, March. And so we kind of all went into your COVID silos for a while. But that experience kind of helped level set expectations for really where 365 is going to be in the future. You guys heard Craig say it earlier, but identity and access management is one of the biggest and most underrated things that most people don't spend enough time on. 10 years ago, if you would have asked me that Active Directory, is going to be what it is, but AD is like the gateway drug to Azure AD.
Yeah.
For us, we're migrating customers wholesale off of all of their on-prem infrastructure and into Azure AD only, with Autopilot and Intune to the point that they don't even have on-prem infrastructure anymore. And that wouldn't have happened before COVID.
No.
But kind of understanding, going through that security expert program, understanding where Microsoft was kind of seeing the vision for the future, even like SCCM to Intune and making some of those transitions, we've been able to prepare for that early. And so, my engineers know Intune extremely well. Somebody comes to us with an SCCM project, that's not us. We can help you guys, go get into Intune. We had one client that we would really like to be a client. They're not a client of ours yet that wants us to upgrade on-prem Exchange. And we've told them no.
Yeah.
Because we want to help move them into 365 and kind of lever them up. But we can't be best in the world at managing on-prem Exchange. That's not where our value proposition is for our customers. We want to be best in the world about helping our vertical secure their employees and their data when they get to the cloud.
So I'm going to ask another question because we'll test the group. So hands again, who's doing identity today? Okay, keep your hand up. Come on, this is the exercise portion. Get the blood pumping, all right? Hands up if you want to start, if you're looking now, I need to go implement identity tomorrow. Okay, I see 1, 2, 3, I saw, 10. 10 new people, right? Shame on you. Well, we're here to help. This is part of the process. So if you think about where you've come from, the past year working with us and other roles else, again, this is not shameless plug portion. What's the future look like for you? What are you looking forward to?
Well, from a number one issue profitability-wise, on one of the previous slides, and Joey knows these numbers better than I do, but in 24, we are going to double our revenue in 365 and Azure AD from 23 and 22. I'm getting my years wrong now, but
so 1 year,
double. Yeah, 1 year we'll double. We're growing extremely fast in this area right now. It's taking more and more as a percentage of revenue. Putting on big picture MSP hat, our percentage of revenue on the information security side. We've done InfoSec consulting, but the services around that is absolutely our fastest growing spot in the company now. We used to be real big into VMware and doing on-prem VDI environments. And as we've seen more of the transition to the cloud, we kind of have our first set of clients that, we installed a big hyper-converged infrastructure for 3, 4, 5 years ago, and their equipment's aging out. And, we're not talking about going and doing NSXT and NSXV anymore. We're not doing these virtual SANs because we can move people into the cloud, AWS or Azure, and it's a lot different conversation now. And so we find ourselves spending a lot of time educating customers that, you're used to seeing the blinking lights in your closet, at least in our industry.
Yep.
And so it really is more about how do we help them secure that data in the cloud. They don't actually care about the blinking lights. You have the occasional IT person that does, but they don't care about the blinking lights. They care about the security and knowing that they can get to their data or who can't get to their data. And so we spend a lot of time on the education side about, why is it okay to be in Azure AD only and you don't really need on-prem AD anymore, in that example. So that future for us is very much those cloud migrations off of physical infrastructure, even stuff we may have installed for them. We see Azure Virtual Desktop playing a bigger role for us in the future. Windows 365 has some pretty good use cases in our industries that we serve. Azure VDI has a lot of flexibility. You guys may or may not know, but financial services have lots of legacy applications that are terrible to work with and need like ActiveX controls to still work. And so some of those don't work great in a full native cloud environment, and that's kind of where Azure VDI comes in.
All right, so this is not on the script. We talked about pain points. Mm-hmm. And the last one that was up was, and I'm going to test you, say yes or no, this is a pain point for you as you look forward, okay? Profitability.
Always,
but is it your top number one pain point, keep up at night? Okay. Competition?
It might be 3 of my top 3.
And finding new clients?
No, finding new clients wouldn't be in our top 3. It's one of your ones from last year. It's talent for us.
Talent. Yeah, I think that should be everyone's concern, right?
And so it's hanging on to the right staff, helping the wrong staff maybe leave. But it took us 6 months for me to help our team find the right 365 engineer. Our kind of vision for the future and what that modern workplace looks like is very specific. And I don't hire generalists. I want to hire scalpels. I want to hire somebody that is an expert at Azure VDI or is an expert at Intune, whatever the case may be. And trying to find those scalpels is really hard. It's easier to find generalists, but having those scalpels on your bench is what helps you grow faster from our experience.
Yeah, so if I were to position it the way we talked before, one of the partners that made that pivot, the partner that made that pivot, and we would say a modern MSP in the sense of the concerns aren't, hey, I'm not growing fast enough, I can't find new clients, I'm worried about competition, I'm losing profitability. Yeah, profitability is always there, but that shouldn't be your top of mind because you're growing so fast and you can't keep up with this. How do I keep my people? How do I continue to evolve with the market? How can I scale? That becomes the issue. So we want to make sure we articulate that you have to make sure the right decisions, have the fortitude to say no, have the ability to say no, and not say yes to everything. So thank you very much for the time today.
My pleasure.
I'll write you a check tomorrow. Listen, we got 5 minutes left, and I know everyone wants to run away, but if there's any questions, you ask Robbie, ask myself, hands up, we'd be more than happy to take any questions. And if not, that's okay too. I'm going to say yes. If you're trying to steal it, I'm going to come after you. He's already started. I've already. Patent's already in.
Do you pick up only the Microsoft solution?
No. We actually came from kind of the VMware world, and so like a lot of our engineers were much more familiar with the AirWatch and Workplace ONE and whatever other iterations that went through. We have been consolidated into the 365 ecosystem. One of the acronyms on stage was the ZTNA, the Zero Trust Network Architecture. We have more of our clients moving into that. And while Intune and Defender for Endpoint has a tremendous value there's other solutions that help meet that ZTNA needs a little better right now. And so for clients that we're moving into that kind of stage in their cybersecurity maturity, we use other tools than Microsoft. We are transitioning everybody into Defender for Endpoint or Defender for Business now and off of some of the other solutions we had, but we're a ConnectWise shop, and so the integration that ConnectWise has is pretty important. That is a little bit lacking right now. In a magic world, if I ran the world, Lighthouse, if you guys aren't using Lighthouse yet, you absolutely should.
Can we pause on that? Anybody using Lighthouse? Hands up. Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Okay, I was impressed.
Yeah.
Good job.
If like ConnectWise and Lighthouse could talk a lot better together, I'd write somebody a check for that one. But
yeah,
so I don't know, 70% of our stuff we do in 365, maybe 20 or 30 in other security tools.
Craig, one of the things we were talking about for the session was device as a service.
Mm-hmm.
Device as a service.
Autopilot, and sending out those devices.
Yep. I told our CFO that I want to lease firewalls and laptops to our clients, and they had a minor heart attack. And so we're kind of building that a little bit more. But for us on the autopilot side, getting how many of you guys are using autopilot today and have deployments? Awesome. So you know all about hardware hashes and some of the challenges of getting devices onboarded. And so we are starting to sell more actual hardware, and the only reason we're doing that is so that we can get it into autopilot faster and make the experience better for our clients. We used to be building full bill of materials and having them go to the vendor of their choice to buy the hardware. And we're not selling hardware for the margin, we're selling hardware to make the customer experience better. Yeah. So that's kind of one of our differences.
As Craig said before, I also think the communication of a security offer is very important.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your tip? That it's not only patch management. Because for many clients in the SME, they just think, oh, I don't see it. So what are you doing the whole day?
So QBRs, quarterly business reviews, are one of the steps that we take as an MSP with almost all of our clients. We have a threshold for a size of client that we would do a QBR with. Bright Gauge is a tool some of you guys may be familiar with, but it integrates with ConnectWise and a whole bunch of the tools that we use. And so we're able to create pretty nice QBRs that our clients can take to their boards. Financial services are very board oriented, and risk and compliance tend to run a lot of those organizations. And so the reporting for them is really important. You know, we have our SOC 2 audit, type 2, so there's a lot of kind of internal auditing paperwork stuff that most IT people despise, me included, but it helps in our industry to be able to say, yeah, here's our SOC audit, you know, here's our financials, here's our third-party audit. And so the vendor due diligence side, you know, we only touch on kind of when we start a relationship, but the ongoing security conversations happen during those QBRs, and much more regularly if we're performing a vCISO engagement. We're, you know, on the phone with them once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I would even say that it's really important how you frame it, the language we use. Remember, you're not, in a lot of cases, not talking to IT people, right? So put it in the language they understand. And simple things, depending on who you're talking to, everyone loves dashboards, right? Whatever you have, whatever is available, it's how you position it back to your customer. And here's what I've done to protect you over the past month, quarter, week. Here's how many threats I blocked. Here's how many emails we've blocked for you. Here's the training we're doing to enable you to do more. It's a different language, and that's one of the biggest things we found when we did the threat assessment with our partners, is they couldn't articulate the value back to their customers the right way. This is going to go, alarm going to go off in a second.
Oh, it's going to beep at us?
It's okay, we'll stop it. We'll get ahead of it this time.
That was actually one of the problems we had with one of our clients now, is a 350 employee shop that had a business email compromise a year and a half ago. And they weren't running MFA and 365 yet. We didn't have a deep relationship with them in that regard yet. And now they've kind of are trying to steer their own boat to the place that they want to take 12-hour MFA challenges to all of their staff, internal and external. And so we're spending a lot of time framing those conversations, trying to help their risk and compliance departments understand, you know, what they're really asking for, and trying to help educate risk and compliance while educating the IT group at the same time. It's a gentle dance trying to set those conversations right, but it's extremely important to kind of understand the audience you're talking to and your customer. You know, if it's a CFO, if it's an IT person, if it's a risk person, and trying to frame the right portions of cybersecurity to them. You know, a CFO is not going to care about a handful of stuff that the IT person might care about, but they'll care about the cost per user. They'll care about how many threats it's blocked.
Yep. Any other questions?
While we're working on talent acquisition, what strategies are you using to prevent overwork?
So a couple different things. Our staff is all, while we're headquartered in Texas, like I live in Oregon, we have staff all over the US. We have an unlimited PTO policy that we try to really encourage our staff to take.
Yeah. People from my team are in this room.
Which it cuts both ways. You know, some people hear unlimited PTO and they're like, oh crap, I got to show up to work, otherwise people aren't going to think I'm working. And so they're like afraid to take it because they don't want to take too much.
Yep.
And on the other hand, you can have people that abuse it, and we don't have anybody that's abused that situation yet. But specifically on the acquisition side, we have 2 of our team members that basically one of our HR person and an actual recruiting person, in addition to using third-party recruiters. And so at this stage in the game, we'll try to let a third-party recruiter look for key points on a resume, and then by the time I get involved, or one of our engineers, it's a little bit of a technical interview, but a lot of cultural interview. You know, I'm not an engineer, but I can tell when somebody's blowing smoke about 365 or Azure AD. And so if we just don't get a good vibe, you know, that's why it took me 5 months to find kind of a really good 365 person. But we're starting to scale that and grow that faster now, and so the speed at which we have to do that is better. But having the right company culture and the right, you know, if you can't get a new staff member your coffee cups and your t-shirts and your laptop, you know, the first day of their work, it's going to demonstrate what kind of company you are to your new hires. And so we spend a lot of time from a company culture perspective trying to be prepared for that and finding the right fit for people.
Yeah, and I would say as the hiring, you know, gap, I would say we get still under, sometimes you have to change who you're looking for because of that. So you have to find someone, maybe skill them up. So how you onboard them, how you're going to train them, and culture. Culture is king. Culture beats strategy every day for breakfast, right? Yep. So it's really about what's the experience. We talked a lot about experience. What's the journey? And the same kind of journey we want for our customers, we want for our associates.
Yep. We've spent a lot of time on the training up aspect of this. A lot of the things, you know, we're not, on one hand, I say we're not doing anything that special, but, you know, we have very specific expectations on how we want to set our customers up inside of Azure AD and in 365. And not a lot of people have played with Azure information protection and understand data loss prevention. And so some of those skills we just can't find. The stable of engineers with that just doesn't exist in huge quantities. And so we actually invest quite a bit of time on the education side. I think Bree mentioned some of the, I can't find you in the lights, MS 500, what's the certification? Yeah. Yep, the MS 500, the Microsoft Security Administrator. There's a few classes like that we try to get a lot of our staff to go through just to kind of understand some of that. But we very much are in a hire the right cultural fit and then spend some time training up.
Yep, likewise.
Yep.
One of the things you mentioned is an fractional CISOs. Fractional CISOs. One of the things that we've looked at is how to scale an offering like that, especially with different customers being in different states of a journey around security. So are you doing anything special around being able to scale? Because it's such a human delivery model.
That is a very hard business to scale. You're 100% right. For us, the thing that's helped us do that a little faster is just resource management and how we kind of handle that scale. Again, we're a ConnectWise shop, and some of our professional services folks use ConnectWise. We also use a bunch of Atlassian products, Jira and Confluence specifically. And so how we schedule those people and kind of know what resource commitments they have helps our sales team be able to kind of gauge where we're at, so that we don't want to go sell another 80-hour-a-month CISO engagement when we are at capacity, because it'll take us 3 to 6 months to find the right person to do that. We're doing that right now. We're at another CISO to staff, and it's taken us 4.5 months to do that now. And so scaling a fractional CISO offering is a very challenging thing. But for us, religiously adhering to time tracking helps us kind of gauge what their workload is, and effectively, if we can oversell them, that's a really hard one to oversell or oversubscribe. But yeah, it's a tough one to do.
I'm just waiting for cloning. That's my plan.
Yeah.
Plan B.
Yep. Yeah, it would be. You have 1 or 2, and then it's like, I want to go find, like, if you and you like had the perfect combination of employee, exactly, I want to go find 16 of you. But it's a challenge for sure.
We're not there yet. Any other questions?
Hey, Craig, before we go, one of the things I wanted to land with everybody that we talked about is the training part. So that stuff that hopefully you guys have heard from us is that's what distribution's here for. That's what Ingram Micro's here for. So all of the training that we're talking about, come to us. Grab me, and I'll get you in touch with the right person that covers your geography. But we're all about we have what's called Flight Academy. So we put people through interactive, instructor-led with labs and everything you need across every technology, every vertical. That's part of the practice builder. It's part of Security Expert. It's specific to the MS 500, because we want to make sure that not only do we train you to sell it, but also that you can deliver the services on it, in conjunction. So one of the things is, Ingram Micro, we do a great job of the training aspect. So don't feel like you've, of course, do it on your own, but come to us and let us help you with it. Let us help you enable that. So that's one thing I just want to make sure don't feel like you got to do it yourself. We have a great relationship with Plural's site that's going to be announced. So we're doing a lot around helping you guys ramp up, stay on the cutting edge, and training people across all different technologies and verticals.
Yep. To follow up with Joey there, while we were in the Security Expert program, the first time we had a handful, 2 or 3 of our engineers that went through that Flight Academy class and then took that MS 500 certification. Yeah. We didn't have to pay for anything other than a week of staff time to go, do what they need to do.
Which is expensive, right?
Oh,
and that the whole point is the message I guess we want to land is we're here to help, right? We're not the vendor. We're not here to try to push any specific process, but we have linkages into the vendors that can have programs you can enable. So we're here to help grow your business in every way possible. All right, well, that being said, thank you very much, everyone, for attending the session. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Kiss My SaaS, the podcast for the modern MSP. From the smartest solvers to the most inspiring innovators, we're here to help MSPs rise with more innovation, more opportunity, and more success. So stay awesome, and we'll catch you next time. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, representing the views of the host and our guests, not the broader view of Ingram Micro Cloud. Information from this podcast should not be referenced in any way to imply such approval or endorsement. Thank you.